welcome to my security master class. Today on this video we are going to be discussing how security guard, security personnel can reduce overhead expenses of an organization. As we all know that all organizations in one way or the other want to make sure that they decrease their overhead expenses of administrative costs, rent, insurance, utilities, maintenance and repairs, etc. But as a security guard working in an organization, if the overhead expenses of utilities increases or decreases, the first person that's supposed to receive remark or blame should be the security guard or the security personnel working in that organization. And as we all know that if the cost of overhead expenses of an organization increases on a daily basis, monthly basis, most organizations don't want to pay their contractor in time because of increases in overhead expenses. And also, for a security guard to receive a good remark for promotion and even to have a good experience and to become indispensable in his working place, you need to make sure that the utility cost of overhead expenses is decreases. What are these utility costs that we are talking about? The cost of electricity and water. Other overhead expenses might not concern the security guard or security personnel, but the overhead expenses of utilities cost, if an organization wants to trace it down, the person they're supposed to give a remark to, if the overhead expenses decreases on a monthly basis, should be the security guard working in that place because they work 24 hours. And also, we also know that we have common areas, security lights, where we are working. And the particular one that I want to talk about today is area where the security guard can make sure that they decrease the overhead expenses of utilities. If an organization change security today, if they really want to know maybe that security guard is performing properly, they can know that through the overhead expenses of utilities. As we all know that we have general costs that the organization incur of the utility bills every month, that the light of security lights in the building, the cost of lights in the utility rooms, the utility rooms of the pump room, the electrical room, the fire hose room, the telephone room, the fire hose room. Even sometimes we have fire extinguishers rooms also as well, depending on the organization. All these rooms on a daily basis, security patrol these rooms to check for emergency. As security patrol these areas, we only need security to patrol this place. It depends on how many times they patrol in a day. Or sometimes we only need this room when the maintenance team are working in that room. Definitely, how can a security guard reduce overhead expenses of utilities from this area? As a security personnel, as you are patrolling these utility rooms, when you are leaving this room, you need to switch off the lights. You need to make sure that the lights are switched off. Because sometimes you only check this room maybe for those 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes in a day. Then if you leave that light 24 hours without switching it off, at the end of the day, the cost of overhead expenses of utilities will increase at the end of the month. As a security guard, you need to make sure when you are checking all these utilities rooms, during your patrol, you need to make sure as you are living there, you switch off the lights. Another area where security guard can reduce the cost of overhead expenses of utilities is make sure that all the AC that are not in use are switched off. Sometimes when we find ourselves working in a business organization whereby staff close around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or sometimes at least, let's say 10 o'clock in the night. When they are not in the office, the AC should be switched off in order to reduce the overhead expenses of utilities. Another area that the security can also reduce the overhead expenses of utility costs is by making sure that the system that are not in use are switched off. Sometimes some engine, we have some system, maybe generator they are using in your location, they are not in the use. You need to make sure all these things are switched off. We have some system also, maybe machinery, engine that are not in use. You need to make sure that they are also switched off. Another area that a security officer can reduce the overhead expenses of utilities is by advising an organization to install light sensor. Sometimes in a common area, the light will just be on. As a good security guard personnel that want to have a good remark from where he's working, you need to be able to advise an organization on how to reduce the cost of overhead expenses of utilities. By making sure that they install sensor. When somebody is not in that area, the light will automatically switch off. When somebody comes in, it will automatically switch on. In this way, it can reduce overhead expenses of utilities. Then, after that one, let's go to water. On a daily basis, security patrol premises to discover water leakage. If a drop of water, as we all know that a drop of water make an ocean. A drop of water that a security guard did not call attention on maintenance in time can increase the overhead expenses of utilities. That means it's direct responsibility of a security guard to make sure that any leakages that he finds during his patrol, you need to call a maintenance to attend to it in time. Because as those water drop little by little, you have to make sure that you find solution to it. Don't just ignore. Because at the end of the day, this water that is dropping little by little incur overhead expenses costs. Another area, sometimes they use water irrigation. During the irrigation, as a security officer need to see maybe the water is overflowing. If the water is overflowing, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, weekly, it increases overhead expenses of utility costs. As a security officer, we need to call attention of maintenance working in our location to make sure they put a normal water into this irrigation supply. Another area that a security guard can also decrease the overhead expenses of utilities is by advising the organization the timer of security light in the streets. Sometimes we have different weather. The day can get dark, let's say around 6 o'clock. In this area, they need to make sure that the timer is changed to work with weather. Even for instance, maybe the day get dark at 8 o'clock and the street light in the street is already on at 7 o'clock. That means 2 hours wasted. As a security officer, we need to advise organization in order to have a good remark, in order to have a good recommendation. And we all know that as a security guard that wants a promotion, that wants a good salary, what leads to a promotion is having a good remark from where you are working. Definitely, indirectly, as a security officer, you have to find one way or the other to make sure that the overhead expenses of utility costs of an organization is reducing gradually. It makes an organization to know that a security knows what he is doing. If you are just listening to me for the first time, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel so that whenever I post a useful video concerning security, you can have access to it. And don't forget to click on the notification bell as well so that whenever I post a new video, you can have access to it. Thank you for watching today's video. We meet next time. Love you.